guys, welcome to my channel. Today is all about how to achieve this dramatic cut crease eye look on someone with downturned eyes and hooded lids. A lot of people have told me that have eye shapes like mine that these eye looks are not doable, and I just want to say that is not true. It is a little bit more challenging to figure out a technique that works to achieve it, but it is doable. So I hope that this tutorial is helpful for you and that you are able to do it a lot easier. So please comment below and let me know what was helpful, what wasn't, questions, concerns, whatever you might have. If you're interested in seeing how I achieve this eye look, then please keep watching. The first thing I want to do is grab a small kind of concealer brush. I'm just using this end of this Pure Cosmetics brush to grab a little bit of concealer and to prime my eyelids. I'm just using this Maybelline Master Conceal Camouflaging Concealer in the shade Fair. I'll just kind of brush it all over the lid. This is like an essential part of doing any really dramatic eye look because it's going to help the eyeshadow stay in place, and it's also going to help the eyeshadow show up more as well. So I definitely recommend either putting an eyeshadow primer down or a concealer first before applying the eyeshadow. And then to set this, I'm going to grab this Buff Collection palette here by Pure Cosmetics, and I'm just going to use this white shade here in the very front. This is going to help it be so much easier to blend. It's going to help keep the concealer from creasing, but it's also going to make the blending of the eyeshadows a lot easier. So definitely want to prime the lid, and you definitely want to set the primer. I'm going to grab this fluffier end of this Pure Cosmetics brush, same one that I used for the concealer, just the other end, and I'm going to come in with this shade right here. It's called Clay, and I'm sorry, the first shade that I used on my lid is called Quartz. And I'm just going to start blending that all over in the upper crease area. So when you have downturned eyes, you want to make sure to keep it high. So you can kind of tip your head back like this and see where your eye socket is and just use that as a guide. And I'm going to bring this transition shade all the way into the inner corner, and then I'm going to bring it all the way out. Not down though, because I don't want to accentuate the droopiness of my eyes. So I'm going to keep it high. I'm not going to go down. I'm just going to kind of start flicking it out here, and then I will start blending that up. Just like that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this smaller fluffy brush here. This one is a Luxie 237, and I'm going to grab a combination of clay and desert, and I'm going to run those right into the crease as well. I'm using the Canyon shade in that as well, just to darken it up a little bit. But this is going to keep it a little bit more concentrated into the crease. So we're just starting that blend. The first shade is kind of in the background. This one's going to be a little bit more focused into the crease. And then I'll come in with an even smaller blending brush or pencil brush to get more defined. I mean, it's a lot of steps, so this is definitely more of an extensive eye look, but I just wanted you guys to know that you can achieve a really cool looking cut crease with downturned eyes. I know a lot of people who have this eye shape are really scared of it, but I assure you it is doable, and I'm hoping that this will help you be able to do it yourself. So it definitely takes practice. And then whatever's left on my brush, I'm just going to keep kind of flicking out so I get that start of the wing. And then I'll come back in with that Pure Cosmetics brush again, and I'm going to go right on top and just make sure that those two shades are blending together nicely and that there's no harsh lines before I move on to the next step. I do this between every single step so that the eyeshadow stays really nice and blended. And the next thing I'm going to do is grab this pencil brush by BH Cosmetics, and I'm going to use this to get more definition in that crease. I'm going to come back in with those same two shades, the Clay and the Desert, but because this brush is more dense and smaller, it's going to look darker. So now I'm going to kind of map out where I want my crease to be. This is what this brush is for. This brush is to create more definition and also to map out where I'm going to create that really harsh cut crease line. So I usually start here. Hopefully you guys can see and I'm not in the way. Kind of in the center of the lid. And I'm keeping it high, using my socket as a guide, bringing it all the way into the inner corner, down, kind of almost touching the very inner corner of my lid here, and then bringing it back, and then I'm going to stop kind of right here where my lid starts to really droop. I'm going to stop there and I'm going to start flicking it out. And then, just like before, I'm going to come back in with that smaller fluffy brush and I'm going to go right above that shadow that is applied and blend it in with a transition shade so that there's no harsh lines. And then I'll come back in with that other fluffy brush and go right on top of that. Make sure it's all blending together nicely. I'm going to grab this really small flat brush and I'm going to start cutting that crease. To cut the crease, I'm going to use this darkest shade in this palette here, and it is called Mirage, I believe. So now I want to be careful because I want to keep this line really nice and concentrated right in the crease. I don't want it to blend out at all. I want it to be very, very harsh, very sharp. So I kind of tip my brush up so that the line will be more straight. And I always start kind of right in the center of the lid. I start working towards the tail. And then since I already have kind of a map of where I want to flick it out, I'm just going to follow where I place that shade right before this and bring it out. Create like a wing. I'll come back over here and bring it in, following the eye socket all the way down to the inner corner of my lid. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to come back in with that pencil brush that I used earlier. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll pick up a little tiny bit more of the clay and the desert and use that to really blend the very top of that cut crease so that it's got a little bit of a fade to it. But I don't want anything bigger than the pencil brush to do it because I don't want to blend it out too much. I just want it to have a little bit of a nice transition, but still keeping the color very concentrated in the crease. And then I'll grab this Luxie 237 again and go right on top of that to blend out that color as well. Just like I told you, coming back in with all the brushes just to blend it out before starting the next step. Like that. And then I always come in one more time with some of that darker crease color to just define that line a little bit more because I do want it to be super intense. I grab that pencil brush again. I'm not going to put any product on it this time. I'm just going to really gently brush it along the very top. Just like that. It is time to cut the crease. Now I'm going to grab that same end of the Pure Cosmetics brush that I used to apply the concealer to my lid to prime it, and I'm going to use this CoverGirl or this Maybelline Coverstick. It's in the shade White. I'm going to use that to help really cut that crease before I apply the shadow. What I usually do is just take the cover stick and kind of apply a bunch down here lower on the lid, and then I can kind of blend it upward and then start blending it in. Now this is the part that you want to really take your time and be careful because you don't want to ruin that nice pretty line that you created, that you worked so hard on. Sometimes I even have to like pull my lid because I do have a lot of texture on my lids, and so it's kind of hard to do straight line on it without having to pull the skin out. If you accidentally go too high like I just did, it's really not too difficult to fix, so don't panic. There we go. So if I were to need to fix it, I would literally just come back in with that same brush that I used for the crease. Pick up a little more shadow if you need to, but you probably don't even need to. And just come back in wherever you kind of went up too high and just redefine that line. I'm going to grab my Galaxy Chic palette by BH Cosmetics, and I'm going to use a combination of Comet and Earth, and that's going to create that really cool like electric blue color on the lid. And I just used that same brush that I used for the concealer. Since this is kind of wet from the concealer, it's going to really help pack that eyeshadow on really well. And I just pack it all over the lid first. And then I bring it up all the way to that line, just like I did with the concealer. Just kind of bring it up to meet the corner of that wing that I created in the crease. The next step is liner. So I'm going to grab this Wet n Wild liner in the shade Black. It's called the Wet n Wild Megaliner, sorry. I'm going to follow this line that I created with the eyeshadow down here, and so that I can have that nice space between the two. I am using these Ardell Demi Wispy lashes. They're my favorite lashes to use. They're really pretty and full, but they have that tapered look to them. So it helps really create that cat eye effect. It helps lift the outer corner of the eye. When you have downturned eyes, you know you want to do everything you can to help give the eyes a more lifted look on the outer edge. So I love these lashes for that. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with some mascara. This is the Mad Lash Black Mascara by theBalm. This little sample size one, and I love these things. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply mascara to my lashes. Alright, now I'm going to grab this Buff Collection palette again, and I'm going to grab a combination of the Clay and the Desert again, and I'm going to use that pencil brush. Where are you? There you are. I'm going to use that BH Cosmetics pencil brush again, grab a combination of those two. I'm going to run that right along the lower lash line, starting on the outer corner here, the bottom of the wing, and then running it all the way along the lashes. I'm going to take another almost like pencil brush again, and I'm going to grab a little bit of this color here called Divine, and I'm going to, or sorry, it's called Dune, and I'm going to run that right underneath that shadow, just to help smoke out a little bit. Not too much though, I don't want this to be too smoky, but just a little bit to create a nice blend. And then I'm going to grab that same brush that I used for the blue shadow, the Electra and the Moon colored shadows, and I'm going to run this along my waterline. So I'm just going to pack it kind of right on the waterline to create like a nice pop of blue there. That's it. I forgot to brush off my baking powder earlier. Oh well. Alright, and then I'll go ahead and add some mascara to the lower lash line. And then for the inner corner highlight, I'm going to grab this vintage Illuminator palette by Labeskind. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right. And I'm going to grab some of this rose color here. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my face makeup, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, here's the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and that it was helpful and informative. If it was, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you have not already, so you can stay updated about future videos like this one. I hope to do a lot more like this, and if you have any requests about a particular style or eye look, please comment below and let me know, and I will add that to my to-do list. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I love you, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!